two people walk into the same dealership and drive off in the exact same $40,000 car. Jake leases his. Marcus takes a loan and finances his. Jake's payment is $450 a month. Marcus's is $711. Same car, and Jake is paying $260 less every single month. So everyone tells Jake he made the smart, frugal choice. Lower payment, newer car, no headaches. But run both of them out 10 years, and one of them spends $54,000 and owns nothing. The other one stops paying entirely. And the reason most people pick the wrong one has almost nothing to do with cars. It's the way your brain reads a single number. Let's keep this dead fair, because that's the only way the math means anything. Same car, $40,000. Same person, same income, same driveway. The only difference is how they pay for it. Jake leases. $450 a month for 3 years. When the 3 years are up, he hands the car back and leases another one. New car, same payment, over and over. Marcus finances. He puts $4,000 down and takes a 5-year loan at 6.9%. That's $711 a month. Higher, yes, but hold on to that because his payment has an end date. Jake's doesn't. For the first few years, it isn't close. Jake looks like the obvious genius. He pays less every month. He's always in a car that's 3 years old or newer. It's always under warranty, so a repair bill never touches him. Every 3 years, he walks into something new with that new car smell. Marcus, meanwhile, has the bigger payment and a car that's slowly getting older. At a stoplight next to Jake's newer model, Marcus looks like the one who didn't think it through. And you have felt this exact pull yourself standing in a showroom. The newer car, the smaller payment, the clean simplicity of just handing it back when you're done, it all quietly whispers that this is the responsible, modern way to do it. That whisper is the whole reason leasing works as well as it does. And there's a second pull underneath the payment, one that's even older than money math. A new car every 3 years isn't only transportation, it's a quiet signal. It looks like success. It feels like moving up in the world. Leasing turns that feeling into a subscription. The steady payment rents the look of doing well far more cheaply than actually owning the car would, which is exactly why it's so easy to keep signing. You're not just renting a car, you're renting the feeling of having arrived. This is the part that feels true. Lower payment, newer car, no repairs. Of course, leasing is smarter, right? And that feeling that the smaller payment is the smarter choice is exactly the thing the math is about to take apart. So let's actually follow the money, starting with the lease. A car loses the most value in its first 3 years. That steep early drop is the most expensive part of owning anything. And a lease is a contract to pay for exactly those years, and then hand the car back right before it stops dropping so fast. And it's worth knowing exactly what that lease payment buys, because it isn't the car. A lease charges you for 2 things: the value the car loses while you're driving it, and a hidden interest charge layered on top that dealers call the money factor, which almost nobody sees written as an actual rate. Then there are the fees to start it and the fees to end it. So Jake isn't paying for a car. He's paying for the slice of a car that disappears, plus interest on that slice, plus fees, for 3 years. And then he does it again with the next slice. He never once pays toward anything he gets to keep. 3 years of Jake's lease is $16,200, and at the end of it, he owns exactly 0. Then he signs again. Another 16 grand. Owns 0. Again. Now Marcus. His 5 years of payments come to about $42,000, plus the $4,000 down, call it $46,600. More than Jake has paid so far. But watch what happens at year 5. The loan ends. The payments stop. And Marcus owns the car, outright, worth around $16,000. Jake, at year 5, has paid almost the same amount and owns nothing, and his payment is still going. And here's what the low monthly payment quietly hides. A lease doesn't have a finish line. There's no year where Jake stops paying. There's no car he ever owns. There's mileage caps, and fees if he goes over, and a charge for every scratch when he hands it back. The payment that felt small never actually leaves his life. And this is the real reason people choose the way they do. When you sit at that desk, your brain doesn't compare the lifetime cost of the two cars. It compares two monthly numbers, 450 versus 711. The smaller one feels safer, lighter, smarter, instantly. But the monthly number isn't the cost. It's just the part that's easy to look at. And leasing is built around making that one easy number as small as it can be. And it gets quietly worse because the cycle is designed to keep going. Every 3 years, when Jake comes back, the new lease is for a slightly nicer trim, and the payment creeps up. 450 becomes 500, then 550. Each jump feels tiny in the moment. None of it ever ends. He isn't buying a car. He's renting a seat on a treadmill that speeds up a little every time he steps back on. And that's the part the small payment is so good at hiding. And notice how the whole thing starts. The first question at almost any car desk isn't, which car do you want? And it certainly isn't, how long will you keep it? It's, what monthly payment are you comfortable with? The moment you answer that, everything else gets quietly arranged around hitting that one number. The length of the loan, the size of the lease, the trim. You picked a payment, and a deal got built backwards from it. The total cost was never really part of the conversation. Now keep your eye on Marcus after year 5, because this is where it turns. His loan is done. He keeps driving the exact same car, one he owns, for free. No payment at all. And that $711 a month doesn't vanish. It's his now, every month, to do anything with. If he simply takes that freed-up payment and invests it in a plain index fund, the math stops being about cars at all. Here's the number almost nobody runs, the cost per year. While Marcus is still paying, his car costs him real money. But the moment that loan ends, the price of driving it falls off a cliff. Spread what Marcus paid across just the 5 years he paid, and it's a lot. Spread it across 10 years of driving the same paid-off car, and it works out to under $4,000 a year, and it keeps falling every year he holds on to it. Jake's cost per year never falls. It can't. It's $5,400 a year, forever, on a car he hands back. That's the quiet power of an asset you actually own. It gets cheaper the longer you keep it. A lease only ever does the opposite. Push it all the way out and it's almost startling. Keep that financed car 12 years, and everything Marcus ever paid, the loan, the interest, the money down, spread across all those miles comes out to pennies on each one, and it keeps shrinking the longer he drives. The leaser beside him that whole time has paid for 4 different cars, owns none of them, and still has a payment due next month, and the month after that. Same roads, same miles, the same 12 years of life, and wildly different math. The only thing that ever separated them was a single decision made at a desk, over one small number. Let's run the clock to year 10 and keep score. Jake has leased the whole way. 10 years at $450 a month is $54,000, gone, and he owns nothing. He's still making a payment today, and he always will be. Marcus paid $46,000 over 5 years, then drove free for 5 more. If he invested that freed payment, it grew to over $50,000. He owns a car, he stopped paying years ago, and he has a pile of money Jake never got to build. Now change one number and watch the answer move. If you trade your car every 3 years no matter what, leasing and financing land much closer, you're paying for that steep depreciation either way, and the lease just makes it tidy. But the longer you keep a car, the more lopsided it gets. Keep a financed car 8, 10, 12 years, and those years of zero payment are pure money in your pocket. Keep leasing, and you simply never stop paying. And watch the move people make when the payment feels too high, because the math quietly punishes it. The instinct is to shop for a cheaper lease, a smaller car, a longer term, anything to shrink that monthly number. But a smaller forever payment is still a forever payment. The escape was never a smaller number. It was a number that ends. There's an even quieter winner here, too. Buy a car that's 2 or 3 years old and finance that. Someone else already absorbed the steepest part of the drop. The price is far lower, and the road to owning it free and clear is even shorter. And here's where it tilts even harder. Every so often, a manufacturer dangles 0% financing, a genuine, no-interest loan. People hear 0%, and still drift past it toward the lease because the lease payment is the smaller number on the page. But a 0% loan means Marcus pays the sticker price and not a single dollar more than owns the car outright. There is almost no version of the math where leasing beats a true 0% loan, and yet that smaller monthly figure still pulls people the other way. So picture your own life for a second. Are you someone who keeps a car until it dies, or someone who needs a new one every 3 years? Because that answer, not the payment, decides this. To be fair to leasing, it does some things genuinely well. You're always in a newer car, always under warranty, always with the latest safety and tech, and you never deal with selling it. If you run a business and can write it off, or if you simply value driving something new every 3 years more than the money, leasing is the clean, predictable way to do exactly that. It's not a wrong choice. It's just an expensive one, and you should know that's the trade you're making. And to be just as honest about financing, it has its own ways to go wrong, and every one of them comes from the very same place, chasing a comfortable monthly payment. Stretch a loan to 7 or 8 years just to shrink the number, and you can spend years owing more than the car is even worth, unable to sell it without writing a check. Roll what you still owe on the old car into the loan on the new one, and you start the next car already in a hole. So financing only wins under one condition. You borrow for a car you'll actually keep, and you don't stretch the loan just to make the payment feel small. The math rewards the exact same discipline either way. The difference is that financing eventually sets you free, and leasing never does. So which one wins? It was never really lease versus finance. It was one question underneath it. How long are you going to keep the car? If you genuinely replace your car every 3 years, leasing is a reasonable way to do that. Just know you've signed up to pay for a car for the rest of your life and never own one. If you keep your cars 5, 8, 10 years, financing wins, and it wins big because the payments end and the car keeps going. And the lower monthly payment was never the savings it felt like. It was just the number small enough to stop you from doing the rest of the math. So here's how to actually decide it in the 10 seconds before you sign. Ignore the monthly payment first. That's the one number built to be looked at. Instead, ask yourself one honest question. How many years do I really keep a car? If the truthful answer is 3 or 4, a lease is a fair way to live exactly like that. If it's 5 or more, and for most people it quietly is, then finance it, keep driving it long after the payments stop, and let those free years pay you back. And if the money feels tight, the answer is never a smaller lease. It's a slightly older car that you can actually finish paying for. So before you sign anything at that desk, don't ask the question they want you to ask. What's the monthly payment? Ask the two that actually decide it. How long will I keep this car? And what happens after the payments are supposed to stop? Because the smaller payment isn't the cheaper car. It's just the one that never lets you stop paying. And now you can see which one you're really signing up for.